All right, today for a gun video, we had the NAA North American Arms Mini Revolver here. Now, I'm going to do my best to talk about what it is, and then kind of the what it does. But with that being said, you kind of get the spaghetti effect where what it does leads into what it is, and vice versa, and all that. And by the way, if you hear some background noise, my dog is eating in the background. I just fed her, so that's the background noise. Anyways, also one thing here, the gun is so small that I'm probably going to muzzle myself a lot in the video. It's clear. Obviously, you can see the cylinders in there. It's clear. It's so short that you almost have to put your hand in front of the muzzle at some point. But with that being said here, basically what this is a mini revolver here. I believe they offer these in a 22 short, a 22 long rifle, which is what this one is, and a 22 Magnum too. The barrel length, I believe, is either an inch and a half, or an inch and a quarter. It is short, so there's that. It is single action only, so you have to cock the hammer back first, and then you pull the trigger. Obviously, it's rim fire, so there is your firing pin right there, and it goes forward just like that. I believe they updated this design here, so we're going to not take it apart, but we're going to do a loading procedure in a second here. I believe this piece is a little bit different. I'm not sure how they do it in the new models, but it is a little bit different. They also offer a sidewinder model, where I believe it just kind of folds out like a normal revolver. This one is the more traditional model here. I actually bought this gun when I was like 21 for $100. I saw it used. I'm like, dude, let me check that out. I knew what they were, and like for $100, let me take it. Cool little thing here. You can see one of the cool things about this, the grips I replaced. So if you notice anything weird about the grips, that's my fault. Like right there, it's a little bit off. That's totally my fault. These are actually pretty high quality little revolvers here. Now I did put some oil on it, so that's probably what you're seeing here. But they're pretty nifty little guns here. So first off, I already said what it is. You could use this for a novelty gun. It's pretty cool. Obviously little mechanisms, have a little revolver. It's kind of cool here. And that's definitely, I think, its main purpose. However, with that being said here, could you use this for self-defense? It's definitely not the most optimal thing. With all that being said, you could actually carry this gun here. So that the reason why I bring this up is if you look at some scratches here, that's probably because I carried this gun. Is it the smartest thing to do? No. Is it better than nothing? Some people would say no. I say yes. And the main reason why I say yes is because it's so small, and because it's single action only, you can actually put this thing in your pocket and you wouldn't even know the difference. Some people, well, I'm not going to be able to get in frame here, say it's like a 5-hole or 5-pocket gun, so let me take it back a step here. One of the things I see a lot, at least I used to see a lot more, is like the old school boomer kind of idea of self-defense, where like you're standing on and taking shots at 10 yards, boom, oh, I got him. Which is like, okay, come on. Like most self-defense situations, like you see a lot of time, people are grabbing, they're up close. I believe the FBI statistic was less than 3 yards, less than 3 meters, or 3 feet, or something like that. So basically point shooting. It was like something like 80, oh God, I'm misquoting this so bad here. But a lot of shootings aren't necessarily, firing on a line, 2 hands on the gun. A lot of times, and you see it with more modern training, self-defense, stuff like that. It's not so much black and white, where there's a target and I point and shoot it. Sometimes people are grabbing onto you. So is this a quick draw gun? Probably not. Could it be what some instructors describe as a slow draw? Absolutely. So I can conceal this thing in my hand, and this is what I'm talking about on the muzzle here, and I can hide this thing pretty easily without anybody knowing. Or if somebody's grabbed me and I can actually fire this in one hand, I could put it up against somebody and shoot pretty easily without that being an issue. Now, let's talk about actually loading it and shooting it. So first off, loading it, you're going to push this little plunger in right here. I'm sorry, before we do that, let's take this thing to half cock. All right? We're going to pull this plunger out. And by the way, if you saw my finger here, we're going to talk about cylinder gap in a second. Push this plunger in here. Go ahead and pull your pin out. Now, there is a little deformation going on here. I believe that's from the recoil and this ball bearing right there. Not ball bearing, but this detent. The gun moves back on recoil, and not the ball bearing, the detent is right there. I keep calling that ball bearing because, I don't know, I guess it looks like a ball bearing to me, and my brain's just not working right now. Anyways, pull your cylinder out. Take note of the cylinder stop right there. We're going to come back to that in a second here. You're going to put your 5 shots right in there. Now, 5 is important. I'm going to tell you why in a second here. You're going to put this back in here. Go ahead and load up your cylinder stop, just like that, in one of these notches here. Put your pin back in. Now, this is a half-cock position. If you know anything about revolvers or hammers in general, you have a half-cock. A half-cock generally isn't a safety. It's more of a loading position here. So you can't pull the trigger, but I probably wouldn't carry it like this here. So what you're going to do here, remember it's a 5-shot, so it's not symmetrical. There is a wider base and a more narrow top here. You can also see it through this hole. There are, let me show you in the camera, there are cuts in between these cylinders, and they are more narrow cuts. So you can kind of see it through the window. So this takes a little bit of practice. I would not give this to a beginner and be like, oh yeah, load this thing, because they're probably going to shoot their finger. You have to know your gun pretty well if you're going to do this here. It seems a little bit unsafe because it is a little bit unsafe here. You're going to pull this hammer back. At a certain point, you can spin the cylinder freely. You're going to line it up where a cylinder is not in line with the barrel, but in between these cylinders from there. All right, you can look through your little top window right there. Lower the hammer slowly from there, and now this gun is in a safe position. And you can see, of course, I'm going to point this at the camera. My head's not behind the camera, don't worry, that you're in between your cylinders from there. So this gun can't go off right now. I guess theoretically it could go off from a cook-off if I put it in the oven or something like that, but practically it can't go off, you know. Even if the hammer's all the way down, number one, so it's not resting on a cartridge here, but this is probably the most safe position to carry. So with all that being said, you know, you could carry it in this position here, and you could slow draw this thing and have the hammer cocked, and you can hide this in your hand if you needed to. Again, is the best thing in the world? Probably not, but it is an option from there. Let's talk about firing it. So the problem is this grip is so short. I mentioned before they have a folding grip, but then you need 2 hands to open the thing up. I mean, maybe if you pinched and flicked it really hard, but that seems kind of weird to me. But yeah, so there's no grip. So I've seen some people try to pinch it and fire like that. One of the things I experiment with is put my index finger up here and pulling the trigger with my middle finger. Let me take it back a step. Another problem with this position from here is that the web of your hand gets in the way, and even more so in this position here, right? Like if I grab it and try to pull a finger, whoops, the web of my hand almost gets caught up like that, especially if you have big fat hands like me. Also, keep in mind that if you put your hand here and your fingers up too high, there is a cylinder gap. Now, whenever I shot, I was always very careful of that. I try to go lower. You still get some splatter on this finger. That's not to say I don't know what would happen if you were all the way up here. It's only 22 long rifle. I would guess that 22 Magnum would be a lot worse, but obviously, you know, be careful with that. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you something I've experimented with. So I do something like that there. You know, I see a lot of people doing this grip here. The problem is, again, it's so narrow that it wants to recoil, and the gun's like that, and it, like, almost flies over your hand every time. You're like, I don't know, it feels weird doing it. So I generally go a little more something like that there when I fire it. All right. But in conclusion, self-defense, I give it a big meh, maybe a specialty roll, something you could throw in a pocket if you really needed to. Again, not the most optimal gun in the world here. Most people are probably buying this thing as a more novelty thing, and I absolutely see it as a novelty. I shouldn't say that. I see it, for me personally, a novelty, but I have a hard time justifying novelty guns. I like my guns to be able to do something in my collection. So this concealment. If you ever had a pair of shorts and you have that little pocket, almost like a 5 pocket that flips out, at least on men's shorts, you could put this gun in there. You know, another option for you there. And I think that's going to be it for this video here. So yeah, NAA revolver. Don't take my advice. I'm not a professional. I'm just some YouTuber. So that's that, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to give me a like or give me a dislike if you think I'm an idiot and this gun is worthless. Or if you hate me, leave me a comment. If you love me, leave me a comment. If you do either, be sure to subscribe. And then finally, please, 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 do not give an inch. Love you guys. See you guys next time.